Books That Changed My Life, Author Edition. I'm a multi-time best-selling author, and these are the books that I wrote that changed my life and my career. The first one is the Golden Trilogy. Golden is my debut novel. It is my Goldilocks retelling where she's an assassin sent to destroy the Bear family, Bear being the last name, not the animal. And this was my first introduction to Author Society and to the publishing space and to readers and to fans and to obsessive fans. This is the one that changed the game for me because it was my very first public author life thing. And it was so fun. It was so fun to put this book out. So many cool things happened because of this book, and it ended up being the number 7 best-selling book out of every book in existence on Amazon. It was really cool when that happened for me. And so Golden is my debut, really life-altering for me because it kicked off every single thing that happened since. The next one is Jaded from the Jaded duology. It was my second book. It actually came out just a few weeks after Golden, and this one ended up being the 87th best-selling book out of every book in existence on Amazon. And the cool part about this is that I learned that I could write quickly and I could write things for rapid release, and I could do really well with my marketing. This one went over so well with my fans. They were screaming at me. This is the one where they really sent me the DMs, like, how could you be so vicious? You're an awful, mean, just vicious author. How could you do this to these characters? You've ripped my heart out. This is the one I got a ton of comments, like angry, but like the best kind of way, angry readers. But this also was the book that I created an interactive choose your own adventure game from. And I created this game that you could play through Facebook Messenger. I use Facebook Messenger bots with ManyChat, and I created it so that you could play through and do missions for Mr. Arrow. And then your actions in the game were in the free game book. If you read the book again, you could go and see where you placed certain items that the main character then used. You were responsible for helping to save this girl. And so the Jaded duology is about a girl who's forced to marry the son of her father's enemy. He started a rebellion when she was little, and to get back at her father, they're forcing her to marry the son of the evil guy. They're going to make everybody believe that they love her and accept her into the family and then murder her to make it look like an accident to get revenge. And she has to convince her new husband to fall in love with her for real. And so you get to run missions for one of the people helping her, and maybe you save her and maybe you don't, but you definitely helped with the plan. And so I created this interactive choose your own adventure game, and the people who created the bot program got into my bot. They were helping me with something to attach something properly, and they realized what I was doing. And I was the very first person to do this. They had never seen anybody use it for those purposes. I was the first person to create a choose your own adventure game and interactive quizzes on it. Everyone else had just used it to kind of deliver links and FAQs and stuff. And you guys have seen those. These are the exact same program that people use when they are in their social media posts, and they say, comment with this word and I'll send you the link. It's that program. But I used it for interactive choose your own adventure games and quizzes. And so they were really impressed with that. And they a couple days later, they slid back into my DMs and say, hey girl, hey, we told Facebook what you were doing and they want to talk to you. They want to interview you for a spotlight. And so I ended up, they brought me over to Facebook, and Facebook interviewed me for this spotlight on what I was doing and how I was innovating in this space, which is really freaking cool. The next one that was so impactful in my career was The Legends Chronicles. It was Along Came a Spider, and this was my very first novella, so my very first short, tiny story. And with this one, I learned that if you do a surprise release, like you don't tell people it's coming, you just up and drop it, you're gonna hit good numbers as long as you have, some kind of awareness out in the space. I had 2 books out at this point. I dropped my 3rd book, Along Came a Spider, which is a Little Miss Muffet retelling with a techie cyber twist. And I didn't tell anybody about it. The day it released, I said, boom, surprise book. And it hit number 1 on all of its categories. And then I tried it again on subsequent books. And every single time I would hit number 1 in all of my categories because I surprise released a book with a small audience that I had already been cultivating and creating. At that point, my books had not been on the overall store bestseller list. They had done well in their categories, but they didn't hit like number 7 in the entire Amazon store. At that point, that was a little bit later. And I learned that if I do things a little bit differently than everybody else, I'm actually very successful with that. And so when I take the path less walked, I do very well in this space. And then after that, I released a bunch of different books. I've learned a lot of different lessons. Some really cool things came about. I think the next really big one that I'm going to note anyway is The Conspiracy of Jack Frost, that actually launched under the Revolution of Jack Frost. I did that one with a small publisher, and they took me to New York Comic Con. And I got to go be in a hotel overlooking Times Square and sign at New York Comic Con and meet all the people and see all the things. And I got to meet Jodie Benson and Paige O'Hara, who are the voices of Ariel and Belle in Disney's princess movies. I got to meet just epic, really cool people. I got to go give my book to the cast of Hamilton while I was there. I got to do some really cool stuff while I was there. So that one, with The Conspiracy of Jack Frost, now The Conspiracy of Jack Frost, now that I have my rights back, but The Revolution of Jack Frost at the time, got me to do something really cool. And I just love that I got to do that. And so from there, I've had a lot of different books, a lot of different experiences, a lot of things that have really taught me a lot of lessons. But those are kind of the big life-changing ones where I got to do just really epic stuff. I've gotten to do some really cool things, and those couple of books have just dramatically changed the course of my careers because they opened up very specific doors to me. And then along the way, I've also leveraged all of my books to open a bunch of doors for me with my talk shows and with the guests that I've made, or I brought onto my show, the friends I've made through those guests. You guys know I'm friends with Disney animators, and I'm friends with people who make big Hollywood movies, and I'm friends with actresses, and all of these things because I created the books and then leveraged the books to create the talk show to then do all this really epic stuff. So, what books have changed your life? They can be books that you've written, or they can be books that you are reading, authors that you love, that you've read their stuff and you've learned some really cool life-changing, altering things. Let me know down below, what are we loving on? And do you want to hear more about how certain things have really just changed the trajectory of my career so that maybe you can do some iteration of that in your author or reader career as well? Drop your questions down below and we'll see you in the upcoming episodes. And by the way, if you like hearing about these kinds of things and you kind of want to check out those books, Golden, Jaded, and Along Came a Spider. So 3 of the 4 books that I mentioned, the first books in those series are all free to you in ebook form on all major platforms. So if you want to go read them, please by all means do. I do recommend the Jaded duology and The Conspiracy of Jack Frost first as the first introduction to my books. But I've got some really cool ones coming that I think are even better written. And I can't tell you about them yet, but they're launching in the not too distant future. So follow along for more. I will see you in tomorrow's episode. Until then, stay inspired.